playing backup in a band, in a group setting, or say for instance you're just blowing harp as a background while somebody else is singing at karaoke. Does happen. It happens a lot more than you think. You start playing harmonica, somebody at karaoke is going to say, hey, can you back me up with this song? I'm actually quite right there. It happens way more than you expect it to, and it'll come out of nowhere. People will just, people will actually come up with songs so that you can play harp as backup for them. Of course, the other thing is people will also ask you to play Blues Traveler's hook all the time. And that's a completely different story. Anyway, back to what I'm saying. Say yes. Just say yes. Always say yes. As long as you got the harp for it, say yes. But you don't want to overpower them. You don't want to steal the center stage from them. All right? When you're up on stage, you're not always the center of attention. It's a huge, huge mistake that so many harmonica players make, is that they are given the opportunity to get up on stage with a bunch of people, or they're in a band or something like that. You're in a band, you're the lead vocalist. Your two things are singing and playing harmonica. You are not the center of attention when the guitar player is doing his solo. That's just self-centered. You don't do it, all right? You know what you do is you comp. You play background, all right? It's their turn to be the center of the stage. In the same way that when the drummer is doing their drum solo, everybody shuts up and just lets the drummer play the drums, all right? That's all right. And it's true across the board, let people have their time in the light. That's, in the end, that's really the reason why people are getting up on stage to play. If you weren't interested in getting up on the stage to play, you'd be sitting in your bedroom banging on your drum, playing your guitar or whatever. People are out in public, they're wanting to get up in front of people, they're going to have their moment in the limelight. So, don't be a dick, give it to them. It's what you're doing when you're comping. You are shutting up and letting somebody else lead the show. You're not the center of attention. All right? So, I got Jam Zone in the background here. So, just listen to this. This is just all background. This is Freddie King's Going Down. Slowed down 22%. Took out the guitar, the piano, the keyboards, and, the organ and the lead vocals. Sounds like a metal song if I ever heard one. Alright. That's enough of that background stuff. Go ahead. I'm going to hit play again. When you're doing it, really think about doing rhythm. Think about doing chugging. Think about doing, like simple chord stuff. I'm going to pull this back up again. Listen to that guitar. I mean, do you think guitar players sign up to do that all the time? No. But it's really great to have it. And I mean, I guess, hey, if you're part of Freddie King's band, if you're the rhythm guitar player that's just doing that, you're still part of Freddie King's band, you know what I mean? Alright, let's get back to it. This is me trying to comp. That's the reason why we already talked about the tonguing techniques, all right? Going through and doing that tongue blocking, doing that tapping, that ta 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 ta, when you're, when you're playing, because that's really helpful when you're doing this. You're not the center of attention. You're not the main person, all right? If you get this right, if you learn how to breathe lightly and just play backup, just comp in the background, you'll add something to it that nobody else is going to be able to provide, and everybody is going to want you there next to them. gonna go ahead and hit this up, all right? I'm gonna pull back the jam zone. I am pretty sure that this backing track is the wrong key for the harp, vice versa. Just putting a little bit of feel into what you're doing musically. You're not taking center stage. You're not stealing somebody else's fire. You are just giving to everybody else. Incidentally, that's another thing about Jam Zone. Got that riff going. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the QR code. And if you want to go ahead and scan it, that's one of the things that I like about Jam Zone is that when you're, if you don't have the right key harmonica, as you're figuring stuff out, there's my nose again. If you don't have the right key harmonica, in Jam Zone, you can start switching the keys on, you know what, I'm going to switch over to it. There we go. See, when you got Jam Zone up and running here, there's the code. When you got Jam Zone up and running, you can be. Let's see if you can see it. See right there. That's the. That's what key it's in. You can start switching around until you can find the key that you're supposed to be in. And here's something else I learned. Okay, this is difficult to easy. So, hey, E minor. So I'm back to normal here. But that's the thing, you can switch keys with Jam Zone and figure out what you're doing. Of course, D minor is going to be third position or slant harp. But, all right. That's enough me yakking about that. Let's get back to watching the video. Day 14, comping. Restarting the video, I guess. All right, today we're going to talk about playing backup. Gonna bounce it forward. That's the reason why we already talked about the tonguing techniques, all right? Going through and doing that tongue blocking, doing that tapping, that tap, 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 when you're playing, because that's really helpful when you're doing this. You're not the center of attention. You're blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna go ahead with a little bit of what you're capable of. And if you can do that perfectly, or even if you can just do that passively, all right? Look, I'm trying to get all kinds of wordy and meaningful with it and so on. What it comes down to is comping's simple to do. Figure it out. It's just keeping the rhythm, staying in the background, blowing some basic chords, and having the right harp. So figure out comping, and once you got it, figure out comping. Once you got it a little bit done, practice it with the Jam Zone, or wherever I put the Jam Zone. But practice it with Jam Zone, and once you figure it out how to comp, just use that as much as you can when you're playing along with people. It makes a huge difference.